So everyone should have a picture and a graphic organizer. Everyone have that?
Yes.
Good, okay. Today we're going to be talking about Southwest Asia and the standard of living there. Just from looking at this picture, does this look like a nice place to live?
No.
Would you want to live there? No? How many working bathrooms do you think there are?
About 5.
5? Close, about 1 to 5, and sometimes they're not even working. But then when you look at in the background, do those buildings look nice? Do those kind of look like maybe something that you would see in the United States?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to watch this video, and it's going to kind of show you the distribution of wealth and how some people in India have a really high standard of living and some people have a really low standard of living. You can take notes on the back of your picture if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to, just make sure you're listening. And then we're going to talk about some things that we noticed in the video related to standard of living. So it's about 10 minutes long, and then we're going to talk about it.
India is home to the highest number of poor people in the world, with over 360 million of its citizens living below the poverty line. And India's largest city, Mumbai, is home to an estimated 22 million people, half of which live in slums. This means that 4 times the population of Chicago is living in absolute squalor.
Does that look nice? Would you want to live
Now
there?
contrast this with the fact that Mumbai is also home to the largest and most expensive single-family dwelling on Earth. India's richest man, Mukesh Ambani's billion-dollar personal palace, is a 27-story, 400,000 square foot skyscraper that takes over 600 employees just to maintain it day to day. And if that's not freaky enough, this futuristic mega super mansion actually looks down on some of the worst slums in the world. How are you?
Hi.
Good to see you. Where are we right now?
We are in Dharavi, one of the largest slums in Asia.
And how many people live in it?
More than 1 million people live.
1 million people live in this slum. How many people in Mumbai live in slums?
At least 10 to 11 million people.
So 11 million people living in them. Can you show us around?
Right, sure.
So 1 million people live here. What are the qualities that they live under?
Living is very bad here. Somewhere it says Mumbai's pollution is equal to 2 cigarettes. If you are a non-smoker, that means you are smoking 2 cigarettes
Right
a day.
now.
You smoke?
No, but I'm smoking with
Yeah,
you right now.
yeah. We are
I'm
smoking.
laughing with you. How much would it cost to live here?
So, I mean, Mumbai is one of the expensive cities, right? Most of the people here, they live in the factory where they work because to rent a house, you have to pay a lot, you know? See this one here. To rent this one, it will cost at least 10,000 rupees. You know, so many people who work here, right? They can't afford that. So what they do is, wherever they work, they live. If you speak to these guys, definitely all these guys.
So they don't have a home, they don't pay rent, they just
They all
live
work there, they all
wherever
live there.
Yes.
they
Same
work.
thing.
So they just
Because-
work,
Because they
go
can't
to
pay
sleep,
rent.
Yes.
get up and work again.
But how would you even live in there though?
Just live there. Even now you can see that guy sleeping there. But that's what, you know, the problem of India, maybe.
Yeah, maybe the world.
Yeah.
So there's open sewers everywhere. It smells quite pungent. In fact, it's estimated that there's only one working toilet for every 1,400 people living in the slum. If TV were scratch and sniff, then everyone would be barfing right now. It smells so bad, it's shocking. I don't know what to spell on me, but it's not good.
This area of Dharavi, a lot of recycling, you know, happens here. You can see here how they're sorting the plastic here. Then it goes to the grinding machine, and they grind it and they wash it and they recycle it, you know, make new plastic out of it.
Right.
But you can see again the working condition is not so good.
Not great.
Yeah.
So they've got all the shit plastic from all over Mumbai
and they bring it here to the slum, and then they just sort of by hand recycle it. Insane. There's no real roads, it's just winding alleyway after winding alleyway, which wouldn't be so bad except there's over 1 million people that live in this slum.
And around every corner, it seemed that there was something even more shocking. There were young kids working in the dark, running makeshift machines that were retooling waste metal. And as we walked around, I realized that the whole economy of Dharavi is based on the garbage of the real economy of Mumbai. Everywhere you look, people were trying to make something, anything, to sell or trade, desperately trying to make some money out of the waste of the real world.
Because it's so windy, there's no real roads, we're going to go up on the roof and see if we can...
So all the people
See
that
the
you see
slum.
living here in the
No,
bottom
no,
half of
this
the
is up
picture
there.
are living off the
Safety
trash of the people that live in these
How
huge
far does the
skyscraper
slum go?
buildings.
It's about 432 acres.
432 acre slum, right in the middle of Mumbai. It reminds me of like Mad Max or something, you know, where they're living off garbage and fixing the garbage. Or, you remember in Star Wars, you know when they go down into the garbage? If you jumped in there, there'd be like an eye come up and go after you. So you have all these people living in this slum. They sleep under their sewing machines. What do they think about a guy who has $1 billion house?
We see people sleeping on the street. So there is a huge contrast,
Yeah.
between very, very rich people and
Yeah.
very poor people. You
Yeah.
can see this building here, right?
Yeah,
On the rooftop,
yeah.
they have a swimming pool.
Now, do you think that the people who live in the building who are swimming in the swimming pool feel bad when they look down and they see people sleeping in the streets?
I don't know that. I don't know. Even now, when I pass through, if I see some kids or family living on the street, I feel bad about it. I feel like, oh, now I'm a bit luckier than them. I'm in this position.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe if I'm there, I would have definitely think, come on,
Yeah.
this is too much gap.
It's too much gap. It's too much gap.
After spending some time in Dharavi, we wanted to see how the proverbial 1% live in the skyscrapers that ring these slums. So we hooked up with a textile magnate named Gautam Sigandhi to show us around Mumbai in his private helicopter.
How many million people live in Mumbai?
Greater Mumbai, about 20 million people, and that's about included in what they say. I would say the most crowded city in the world. Everyone might think the biggest.
Now Gautam is your quintessential 1%er playboy, complete with a fleet of yachts, aptly named after James Bond films, massive houses, and of course, a stable filled with the world's fastest cars.
Wow. So this is a Ferrari, I know that much.
Yeah, it's the 458 Italia. This was the first 458 that came to India.
So you got the first one.
This is a '07 Gallardo, which has been modified. It's got twin turbos. It's fast. Trust me.
You actually ever drive the cars?
We drive every weekend. There's a supercar club that we have, and a bunch of guys who love cars. And when we go out in the club with the boys.
Okay, we're going to stop the video there. So, as you can see, some people live really poor, and then some people live really, really wealthy, like this guy who has a skyscraper and a fleet of yachts, right? So, do you think that's fair? Do you think it's fair that just down the street someone is living super wealthy and I'm living off of their trash? No, does that make sense? And that's called the distribution of wealth. So would you say that would be even or uneven? Uneven, right? So when we're looking at standard of living, what are some factors that we look at to determine if standard of living is good or bad? Do people that usually have more money, do they usually go to school? Can they read and write?
No.
You don't think that people that make a lot of money and go to college know how to read and write? Yeah, right? So that would be your what? Literacy rate? If me and you are literate, then that means that in this room, right, we all know how to read and write. So we would have 100% literacy rate. So in a minute, when we get on this website and we're going to look at these different indicators, gross domestic product, literacy rate, infant mortality rate, lots of babies are dying, and then life expectancy, we're going to see these 4 different countries in Southwest Asia, and we're going to see how good their standard of living is. So gross domestic product, how much a country is making, that number should be high or low. If you want to have a good standard of living, is the higher number the better or the lower? Higher, right? And then literacy rate, meaning we can all read, that number should be high or low? High. And then infant mortality rate. What does mortality mean? Anyone know what mortality means? Infant mortality rate. What were you going to say, Brett? Death, right. So infant mortality rate means how many babies are dying, right? So if a lot of babies are dying at birth, that means that where are babies born? In a what? No. What place? A hospital?
Hospital.
Okay. So that means that the healthcare probably isn't that good if a lot of babies are dying, right? There probably aren't enough nurses or doctors to take care of them, right? And then life expectancy, which means, what does that mean? How long what? How long you're going to live, right? So that number, right, if we're looking at good standard of living, that number should be high or low? High, right. So we're going to go to this website, and I'm going to show you here on my screen. Tomorrow, you're going to do the bottom 3, but today together, we're going to do this first one together. And then at the end, you're going to look at all of your numbers, all of the data that you've collected, and you're going to write an essay over which country has the best standard of living and why you chose that. And you're going to use, all of your numbers are going to be your data for your essay. So you're going to reference back to the numbers that we are going to collect tomorrow. But today we're going to do the first one because we watched the video over India. We're going to do the first one together. So you're just going to look at my screen, and we're going to go to www.cia.gov. And we are going to scroll over to where it says World Fact Book. And then right here at the top, you see where it says, please select a country to view. We're going to go to India, and then tomorrow you'll do the same with Bangladesh, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. And it's going to show you all this stuff about India, all these facts and statistics about India. And so what is the first box that we're looking to fill in? Gross domestic product, right. So that has to do with, what did we say? Does it have to do with, because there's all these little sections here, I don't know if you can see it. Does that have to do with geography in the land, economy? Yeah, does it have to do with money? Okay, so we're going to click on economy. And then it shows you right here the GDP for India. So it's this first one here. So it says 7.277 trillion. So you're going to write that in your first box. 7.277 trillion. And then what is the next one we're looking at? Literacy rate. And what did I say that meant again? The percent of people that can what? Read. And there's a lot of statistics on here, so you kind of have to... Literacy, okay. And then for this one, it also gives you a definition. So it says age 15 and over that can read and write. So the total population that can read and write in India is 74%. So that's not too bad, right? That's almost about 3/4 of people that can read and write. People that are over 15. So under that, under literacy rate, we're going to write 74%. And the next one that we're going to write is infant mortality rate. So we're going to scroll down. Okay. So 43.19 deaths per 1,000 live births. That's a lot. So 43.19 per 1,000 live births. So for every 1,000 babies that are born, 43.19 are dying. Life expectancy. Okay. So for life expectancy, it says 67.8 years. So people in India are expected to live at least 67, that's the average, 67.8 years. Okay, so like I said, tomorrow you are going to do the remaining 3 countries using the same strategies that we just used. And then I'll be walking around helping you. And then at the end, we're going to be writing an essay using the key information, like I said. And you're going to have a rubric, so you'll know exactly what your essay needs to be about. And you're going to have to decide which country you think would be the best to live in, right? So, let's see. So let's just review. What did we say that are the factors? What are some factors that we can look at when we're trying to determine standard of living?
Gross domestic product, literacy rate, infant mortality rate, and life expectancy.
Right. And remember that not all high numbers are better, right? Usually we think high, better. Which one did we say that we want to be kind of, that we want better means lower? Which one did we say that would have that a lower number would mean that they have a higher standard of living? Literacy rate? No, we want that to be high because remember, right here we're at 100%. Let's say if Brett didn't know how to read, we would be at 75%. So infant mortality rate. So if the number is higher, that means more babies are dying. If the number is lower, it means not as many are dying. So tomorrow when we fill out the rest, just keep that in mind, where we want the numbers to be. You maybe even want to note it on your thing that you want this to be high. High. Low, and then high. So whenever you are writing your essay, you can look back at this and use this data in your essay. Okay, does anyone have any questions? No? Good? Okay, we're out of time anyway. Thank you guys.